Welcome to the Grapevine! I'm sorry.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Grapevine. If you're wondering what's going on in this place, we changed up the scenery a little bit. I also have a little ornament stuck in my beard.
Yeah.
And just in case that's annoying, because it's already annoying me, I'm going to take it out.
Oh.
So you're welcome. So Wesley is back. This is him. This is his real face. It's not CG. CGI.
I'm not one of those.
Yeah. There's my mommy. Happy Mother's Day, Mommy.
Yeah, it's Mother's Day. Currently for us, it might be a different time and day for you, but celebrate Mother's Day every day, just about. Let them know you love them.
Probably going to be watching this on a different day, but
Yeah. Hey, we still need to celebrate our mothers, though.
I love to say that.
Yeah.
Wesley brought me a candy bar.
Yeah.
Gotta
Gotta celebrate the mothers.
So I have to eat it.
Is that
So-
like a rule?
Yeah.
Like if you get a gift, you have to.
Yeah. I have to
So
eat
yeah,
it.
like I said before, Wesley is out of town when he's here in Okmulgee, so he's not near his own mom right now.
Yeah.
So
I gave her a
celebrating my
compliment.
mom. So he brought her a candy bar. It's
Shout
really
out
cool.
Wesley's mom.
So, thank you guys for listening so far. I know I pumped out that video the other night. I think it did pretty well. Last Sunday was interesting. I was telling Wesley about it. And well, anyways, I'm not going to get into it, but we are going to resume our journey through the New Testament again. Yeah, we're going to be in Matthew chapter 24, and we're very near
Near the end of Matthew.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I'm
Very
excited
close.
about that.
So
I guess we'll jump right on into it. You want to start us off in chapter 24?
sure. Matthew 24, here we go. So Jesus left the temple and was walking away when his disciples came up to him and to call his attention to its buildings. Do you see all these things? He asked. Truly I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down. What do you think the disciples were thinking of when Jesus told them this? You think they were like, literally, or is this more figurative speak?
We're gonna go toss some stones at the water. Jesus, is that what we're getting at? I don't know.
They're probably
Somebody said
maybe,
that to be it. I don't know.
maybe a little shocked.
Yeah.
Let's continue on, see what they think. As Jesus was sitting on the mountain of Olives, the disciples came to him privately. Tell us, they said, when will this happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? So
He's like, when you coming back?
yeah, and when I started this the other day, I was just kind of like, wouldn't that be nice to know?
Right?
We're still
I like how he's asking what we've all been asking
They're
for
asking
years.
before Jesus ever takes off. Like,
Yeah.
Y'all be patient. All right.
Yeah.
We've been waiting.
Jesus is like, hey,
But-
it's gonna be what it is, man. You just gotta understand it's on my own time, is what he's saying at that point.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Jesus answered part.
He does. He answered and said, watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name claiming I am the Messiah and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. What you know about birth pains?
It is Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Pretty funny.
Yeah. I like how Jesus was like, look, there's going to be all this stuff, but you ain't going to know when,
Yeah.
And we, all the time, people are like, oh, it's the end of the time. What was that? It was before my day, but what was it? Year 2000, when everybody was like, oh, the electronics are going to blow up. What was that? What do they call that?
Like the turn of the
Oh,
century.
Y2K?
Y2K.
Oh,
Everybody's
yeah.
like, oh, it's the end of the world. Y2K.
Yeah.
And then like nothing happened.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
People just have these, like 2012 was another one. The Mayan calendar. Ooh.
Yeah, like we always freak out.
It did make for a good movie though.
They did make for a good movie. 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everything was blowing up.
Cusack.
Yeah.
Not a bad one. Still go back and watch every now and then. I'm like, hey, that didn't happen.
Yeah, like, but on the real note, like, people are always, they're expecting the end of the time is it's gonna be tomorrow, or it's gonna be, Y2K or 2012.
Yeah.
But I think the main point is, hey, get your life right and
Yeah.
and you won't have to worry about when it's going to happen. You'll just be ready 24/7.
Yeah.
So
For me, right here in what Jesus says, there's an assurance that we could rest in knowing that he's got it under control.
oh yeah,
We don't have to worry about it. So with that being said, I think the people that don't believe have this unrest or uneasiness about them. They don't know what's going to happen.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not reading the Bible. They don't take it
They don't-
seriously,
yeah.
or maybe they just don't know. But there's even some Christians out there that are trying to make the predictions, and it's like, nah, don't forget Matthew chapter 24. Y'all ain't tuning into the grapevine. You know what I mean?
You jump on in.
Because Jesus is saying, if somebody comes to you and claims that they're the Messiah or they're claiming to know the end of the age, they're wrong. They're deceiving you.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to continue on. This is kind of a long one. I'll let you pick it up in 36.
All right.
So we're still down. Yeah, so we just talked about birth pains. So all this stuff going on, the wars, the rumors of wars is birth pains. And if we consider, a literal birth, you have birthing pains, labor pains.
Yeah, things
And-
happened before.
Yeah, and they're horrible. And the mother's like, wow, this is terrible or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the baby pops out and you're like,
Oh my gosh, I have
"It's the
a
most
beautiful baby.
beautiful thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
I think that's just an analogy of what's going to happen.
And we have a mother right here.
OG mother.
To what'd you say?
He said OG mother. I was like,
No, original means
Yeah, she's a real mom.
She a real one.
She's a real one. Okay, so verse 9. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So whenever that decides to happen, I forgot to start the timer, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah, so verse 13, but he who endures to the end shall be saved. That's kind of like some reassurance right there. Hello.
Yeah.
You got that reassurance that, hey, if you just endure, just keep on going, things aren't going to be easy.
Yeah.
Everybody's be trying to be living that Lambo Christian lifestyle where everything's given to them. And,
prosperity.
yeah. Oh my
stuff.
goodness. Yeah. Them prosperity preaching about, hey, you're a Christian, so you're going to get, $100,000 a year and you ain't got to work for nothing. I don't think that's what he said. I think right there what he said was he who endures, and enduring, it implies that there's going to be rough spots, rough patches.
Yeah, and I think the real treasure that we receive doesn't happen until, we enter the kingdom of heaven.
Oh, for sure.
Not that God doesn't take care of us now through our walk with Jesus, but we can't expect, like you said, an easy life while we're still on this earth right now. Not until that new earth, the new kingdom, new heaven and new earth comes.
Yes.
And reigns over all. So, okay, verse, I think it was in verse
15.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one on the housetop go down to take anything out of the house. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. How dreadful it will be in those days of pregnant women and nursing mothers. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. For then there will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. If those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. At that time, if anyone says to you, look, here's the Messiah, or there he is, do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you ahead of time. Who is this elect he keeps talking about?
Who's this elect? Man. Well, are we the elect? God protects and preserves the faith of the elect.
I think that's what he's saying is the believers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're talking about the end times here. So the believers that are already believing
Hmm.
are going to be basically saved from, well, it says those days will be shortened. So we're not going to be the ones left behind. I believe is what it's saying.
Right.
Because there's going to be those group of people that are left behind and they're given basically that one more chance to believe. We kind of hinted at it this morning at church a little bit.
I think we did. Yeah.
Somebody
Actually,
started saying,
I want to be taken up in that
the first time.
First time, yeah.
Yep.
Everybody was agreeing with him. I'm like, amen, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because for
What
those that are left,
verse was that you read that said that? Because I have a different translation. I just don't read it.
Verse 22. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh will be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened.
It says this one, but it will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones
yeah.
instead of elect.
Yeah.
So I think it's for those that have already become believers.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. God's looking out for us.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we heard that one. So I'm in verse 26. Oh, no, not. Oh, yeah, I'm in verse 26. So if anyone tells you there he is, out in the wilderness, do not go out. Or here he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as lightning that comes from the east is visible, even in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever there is a carcass, there the vultures were gathered. So, I think when he says that about the coming of the Son of Man, there's going to be absolutely no doubt that it's him.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see him. I don't even know how it's going to happen, but everybody's going to be able to see him.
Oh, yeah. What was it? He'll come in with the trumpets playing and riding in the sky. Is that right? With a white
On the
horse.
clouds.
Yeah, coming on the clouds.
Yeah.
You're not going to see, hobo Joe down there professing his, he's Christ,
But
You're going to know the
but it
difference.
does say that people still deny it. Like
Yeah.
Not turn away, but still.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It's going to be real evident that, hey, we going to know. Like, it's Christ is going to be like, it's not going to be like some, just a little bit, like something very subtle. I think it's going to be something huge and triumphant. Right. So for sure, like, it's not like Christ. I feel like on his coming back, like we're going to. You ever been to like a birthday party for like an older person and they like have a big one? Recently, I went to a 90-year-old birthday party. Right.
A 90-year-old?
Yeah, he just turned lit. It was lit. All right. Well, he had his own band, and
snap!
He plays.
He was in the band.
He was in the band. He plays this little like flat guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they call it.
Mandolin?
A dobro?
Oh,
Maybe
dulcimer.
a dulcimer.
Slide guitar.
So. Yeah, a slide guitar.
That's different. Dulcimer's different. Wait.
It was all of those things in one.
It was awesome.
Slide dulcimer.
But there was like so much people. I mean, we all had a big celebration. I feel like that's gonna be the same way when Christ comes back. It's gonna be like everybody's gonna be like, yeah, we're all gonna know. It's not gonna be some.
Yeah, I don't. It's okay. Yeah, I want to rephrase to what you're saying. I think for believers, there's going to be no doubt.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you said, non-believers, they're going to come up with a story about something.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
they'll have an excuse for anything.
Yeah.
Be like
I mean, look at them trying to explain away the creation of the world. I mean,
oh yeah.
If you're looking at it as a simplistic view, but the more science progresses, I think the more we can't doubt the fact that God created the world.
I think more science progresses, the more science proves that God's existence.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much stuff. It's like ridiculous at this point. Like biblical like events that happen. There's so many like say they found chariots in the Dead Sea, and they found they're finding different stuff. The Mount Sinai has a burnt top and all this different stuff. I think it's showing more prevalence that hey, this event did happen. And if it wasn't true, why would they write in the Bible about it? And then the Bible's been around for so long that like somebody could have like back in the day, they could have been like, I was there. Like I knew that did not happen. They would have, for sure showed out and been like, hey, it didn't happen. But with all the events that we've got that are historically accurate from the Bible, and you can go out to these landmarks today and see it.
Yeah.
For sure, it's hard to say it doesn't prove true.
Right,
Yeah.
like we just went over for Easter, we did the case for Christ,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about archaeologically, you can prove, the Bible's been saying it all along, and how people are like, the Bible's wrong, this can't be right, and then they dig something up, and they were like, oh, it was right all along,
Yeah.
and we were wrong, but they still don't wanna believe the rest of the words are correct.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like we want to prove the Bible.
It's true to an extent.
There's like a backwards compatibility where instead of reshaping or correcting things from the Bible to, our history, we're going from our history to the Bible. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's right here, people.
Yeah.
Everything's in there, everything.
Even washing your hands.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna let you pick up at 30 actually, because I'm tired of reading.
All right.
I'm on verse 29. So
All right. Yeah.
immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. That sounds like a good old time, doesn't it?
Man, sounds like a
No, that sounds horrible.
crazy birthday party.
It's crazy birthday party.
Yeah. So I'll continue on in verse 30. It says, and I'm in the New King James Version.
Mm-hmm.
It says, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and then they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. What we talked about earlier, by the way. And will send his angels with a great sound of trumpets, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from the four tribes. I was kidding. From the four winds, and it says from one end of heaven to the other. So we talked about this earlier. I guess we kind of jumped ahead, talking about when we were going to be, brought up into the clouds and the sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So yeah, we kind of skipped around a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's all right
though.
Yeah, it shows that we know what we're talking about for the most part. Verse 32. Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. That's facts. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. I think he's talking about end of times. You're gonna know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're gonna have that. Probably, you ever had a gut feeling like when you know something's about to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like you see, I don't know.
Like when it's almost dinner time.
Well, you got the
You're like,
smell
wow.
too, brother. That's a different gut feeling now.
You need to hit me up. Golden Corral.
Oh, that go. Get that buffet going.
Right.
Like the gut feeling I'm talking about is like, say you see, you've been driving, right, and it's late at night, and you see a deer, and you get that gut feeling like, I better slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Like something's about to happen, and sure enough, it does happen, but you slowed down so you didn't hit.
Well,
I feel like you're gonna have
we're
that
gonna
gut
use
feeling.
that as a
Analogy.
metaphor,
Yeah.
analogy. Like they're saying in here, there are gonna be signs, and to go along with what you're saying, when you see one deer, you're gonna see another one.
You're gonna see another.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's a educated gut feeling,
Yeah.
probably. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Today we're educating ourselves about seeing the signs and what that means to come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because usually what I always heard was when you see a deer, like a doe,
Oh yeah. They're
a
traveling
doe
past.
crossing, that the buck waits in the back
Yeah.
for the does to go,
Hmm.
and so you always gotta be careful.
Mm-hmm.
The males will wait.
So when you see
Yeah,
one, you
'cause
probably see another.
I think every time I've seen a deer, I've probably seen, oh, there's the next one.
Oh.
Two, at least
Probably
two.
two or three.
Oh yeah, two
Yeah.
or three. Yeah. Well, that's a good analogy. Yeah, for sure. Like when you see a sign, you're gonna go, feels like something's about to happen. Like you know, and if something does happen, I feel like you're gonna be going, all right, what was this on the news? Yeah, that's probably gonna happen next. You're just preparing yourself for that time.
Yeah.
So continuing on,
Where you at now?
I can't remember.
I think you're on 34.
34. Yeah. Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. Where can we find his words, Alex?
Right here in this book, brother.
Brother, there's never been a more true statement come out of your mouth. The Bible, 100%, is where you can find
Yes.
the
You know,
truth
I
in
wrote.
Jesus' words.
We gave a fire Bible to a student this morning. Did you give it to him? Oh no, because he wasn't there.
Brother, if you ever give a fire Bible to somebody,
Well, I just had this thought this morning about, if somebody basically says, I pray, but I don't hear the Lord speak. He speaketh. He spoke.
Right there. The words are right here.
He spoke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're not hearing the Lord, you're not reading the Word.
Oh,
Okay.
son.
No, but for real,
Hurts
the
toes right now.
Lord. I mean, God already spoke through His Word, through Jesus that came down on earth, and then of course spoke through man to write down His Word. I mean,
Right.
it's a inspired word.
Absolutely. And we
So,
got a
if you're
bunch
not
of
hearing,
transcripts.
if you're not hearing the Word, you're not reading the Word.
You're not. Yes.
I'm trying not to make a joke out of it, but seriously, y'all can read the Word.
Yeah. So if you find yourself going, like you said, man, I don't know, God's not talking to me.
Mhm.
I've heard nothing. It feels like a one-way relationship.
Mhm.
But if you are actually invested, you'll find that if you go into the Word more. I mean, I'm just doubling down on what you said, but
Yeah, no, yeah.
you will 100% start going, okay, I'm feeling more involved. I feel like we're talking here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continuing on, verse
36.
36. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven. But my Father was there only. Verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man be. 38. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving, and the marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark.
Boom! The day it started raining,
They didn't know.
there were still people. Well, they knew.
I mean,
they had warning, right?
I mean, Noah was out here going, "Hey, man,
hey,
my boat.
I ain't on this thing for no reason now.
Hey, this ain't no,
know?
fish tractor, but I mean, you can jump on in and we can get moving."
I mean, yeah, I'm sure Noah had his doubts. He's out
Oh,
there
yeah.
sweating. It's day 387 or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's got that file going.
I'm just saying though, like Noah's Ark and the
Magnitude, how big it was.
magnitude of it. How many doubts did he have? I mean, maybe he slacked off a little bit one day, but I'm just like, I don't think I have ever stayed at something 356 minutes without having a moment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like
Think
years,
of how
it
long.
took him
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
I'm sure when he was
It's
down, it was like, God was like, "Hey, I'm still here now.
Yeah, just keep trucking.
Don't
Trust me.
forget about me.
You're
You're going to want that boat when it comes from running, buddy."
here's
Starts
what I
raining.
wonder though. Did the Lord, tell somebody else, hey, the flood's coming, you should build a boat? And some other guy was like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Because you know how they always say, if God tells you to do something, you don't do it, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And you'll miss out on
Yeah,
it.
he'll give you that chance. I mean, I don't know how many, how long does he wait? It's like
Hey,
God's kingdom's got
I
to
was about
move.
to say, when God's got a will, it's going to be done, whether it's through you or someone else.
Mhm.
But you don't want
There's this comedian, I won't say his name, but that he did this little skit about Noah. And he's basically like, God comes in, he's like, Noah, I need you to build an ark. And he's like, oh, what? He's like, I need you to build it this many cupids by this many cupids. And he's like, what's a cupid? And then it gets all the way up to where he's building it. And he takes some liberties in the story, but it starts raining. And he's like, Lord, it's still me and you, right? It's hilarious, but kind of a funny depiction of the story because it starts raining. He's like, oh, this is for real. Because it would have been the first time it rained too, right?
Yeah,
First time I'd ever
because
seen
before
rain.
this, it was just drew on the ground. Like the earth had plenty of nutrients,
Yeah.
and anything that grew didn't need rain because the dew would kind of come up, and it wouldn't have to worry about waiting on that rain because it's not like West Texas where it's all dry and you just stick your whole hand through the ground because of how dry it is. But for sure,
Brother, I don't know what you meant by that last part, but I'm sure it made sense to somebody.
I'm sure it makes sense. To somebody.
Okay, where are we at now?
Yeah.
Or 40?
Yeah,
Just
39.
talking about-
I'll just end up on 39.
Yeah.
And did not know until the flood came and took them all away. So also will the coming of the Son of Man be. 40. Then 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken and the other left. 41. 2 women will be grinding at the mill. One will be taken and the other left.
Mm.
Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. But, that word but just like switches the whole,
I
like,
heard
it just switches the whole
just-
conversation.
slaps me in the spiritual face.
Yep. But
Yeah.
know this. I'm telling you, man, it
Mm.
always switches up the attitude and the
Mhm.
atmosphere of the conversation. It says, but know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. So be ready, 24/8. Get ready, son.
48. That's
Yeah.
right.
Verse 45. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master made ruler over his household to give his my bad, there's a little comma. And normally in the commas you kind of you space it out.
There's a brief pause.
Yeah, a brief pause. Wise servant, whom his master made ruler over his household to give them food in due season. A little question mark now. Jesus is questioning. Blessed is that servant whom is his master. Blessed he comes will find so doing. Assuredly, I say to you that he will make him ruler over all his goods. 48, there's that word again. But if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, and begins to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with the drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he is not looking for him, and at an hour that he is not aware of, and will cut him in two and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
So let's summarize that, because
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
The Bible's confusing sometimes. With your fancy New King James.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
It's basically just like, stay ready.
Yeah.
I mean, the master puts the servant in charge of his house while the master goes away. I'd say that's us. We're the servants while Jesus is away. Now, Jesus, his presence is still here with us, but, he does count on us to, proceed with his word, spread his gospel. But even more so than that,
And keep his mission going.
if we lose focus of that, this servant here says, oh man, my master's going to be gone for a while. He lets that power go to his head.
Yeah, don't let the power get to your head, man.
Yeah, kind of loses track. And then before he knows it, his master's coming to the door and he's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so he punishes that dude,
Yeah.
punishes that servant. And of course, I think, at the end when it talks about weeping and gnashing of teeth,
I think we can get
that is, what's the right word? An alliteration to eternal punishment.
Yeah.
We see that kind of brought up whenever the Bible's talking about hell.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So,
They normally use that same phrase.
yeah.
So,
brother, I think that's chapter 25.
that was actually 24.
That was 24. We're going into
We're going
25.
into 25.
Make sure you want to pick it up in 25.
Sure.
Q. Matthew 25.
Then the kingdoms of heaven will be like
I'm not getting movie information right now. Perhaps you can try again later.
Technology, dude.
Awkward chat moment.
She just responds to anything.
Y'all, I just want to tell you what, during that big storm we just had not too long ago.
Oh, I know about
We were
it.
all the way upstairs and everything. That just started playing.
Really?
And I was upstairs.
Was it praising the storm?
And I said,
Praising in the storm.
it was worship music. And I said, what is that? What is that noise downstairs?
There will be peace.
There's
in time.
music downstairs. I watch way too many like
Eerie movies.
crime
Oh,
things,
yeah.
you know, and then that they always turn on the loud music and they go in and turn it off and then somebody hits them in the head.
Yeah.
And so
Gets all
I
crazy.
said, I checked my phone and it wasn't playing from my phone. It's just playing all on its own. So I stood at the top of the steps and I said, hey, I'm not gonna say the name. Stop. You
Yeah.
know, I
Uh-huh.
had to say it twice and it finally stopped. I said, that's it, I'm going to bed. I'm not going down there.
Did I tell you that big
I
old
know.
storm?
Huh?
That big old storm? I was here for it.
You're
Yeah. The window flew right at me.
Yeah, he was telling me about that this morning.
the window?
I opened the door and the person behind, like at the front main entrance, opened the door at the same time. And it created a vacuum and sucked the window right at me. It flew towards me
What window?
at my dorm.
Did it break?
Oh, it was definitely broken. I tell you.
So it was like the whole window came out?
Like the whole, like, yeah.
Didn't hit you.
No.
What'd you do?
Grabbed my Hot Pocket out of the microwave and went and told the RA.
That's that comfort food.
You're
brother.
gonna tell me, hey, but I gotta get my hot pocket
Well,
first.
I was
Priorities.
emotionally scared at the moment, so I had to eat
I
my
know.
feelings.
I'm upstairs, we're watching the news, and they're like, get your safe
Uh-huh.
precautions, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like packing up my backpack, and Steve's like, where are you going? I said, I'm going to my safety place, and I'm taking everything with me, all my stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you get
for
time
sure.
to-
So I take like it, yeah.
Bring the microwave.
Yeah.
Just in case. We're in the front room. I know.
There's shelters on campus, right?
There are, but they were filled with water.
Oh yeah, like
They got flooded?
Yeah, they
Oh
got
my
flooded.
gosh.
It got flooded.
So it was like,
School.
Better bring your floaty.
better
So
than my
I'm
scuba
just saying,
gear.
like, what were some of those some things?
No.
Chapter 25.
Chapter
Yeah.
25, Miss Mary, why don't you get it on?
Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 bridesmaids who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 of them were wise. The 5 who were foolish didn't take enough olive oil for their lamps, but the other 5 were wise enough to take along extra oil. When the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight, they were roused by the shout, "Look, the bridegroom is coming. Come out and meet him." All the bridesmaids got up and prepared their lamps. Then the 5 foolish ones asked the others, "Please give us some of your oil because our lamps are going out." But the others replied, "We don't have enough for all of us. Go to a shop and buy some for yourselves." While they were gone to buy oil, the bridegroom came.
Ooh.
Then those who were ready went with him to the marriage feast, and the door was locked. Later, when the other 5 bridesmaids returned, they stood outside calling, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." But he called back, "Believe me, I don't know you. So you too must keep watch, for you do not know the day or hour of my return."
How terrifying would it be a stranger at the Lord's door?
Yeah,
But that is so
Yeah.
true.
that would suck.
Look, this is all about preparation.
It's
Yeah.
and it's like if you didn't catch it the first time in the end of chapter 24 when I said talking about the master returning, let me give you another example of it.
Yeah,
If you're not ready, you're not going.
that's basically what he's saying.
Yeah.
100%.
Don't wait till the last minute like a 5th grader in your homework.
Yeah.
Don't
I might
wait.
still be doing that.
Yeah, don't wait till the last minute. Throw your shoes on when the tornado's coming.
I'm better at that now.
You be ready when they tell you to be ready,
Yeah, get ready. Come on.
and just in case.
Yeah, that's a perfect example because you're told to shelter in place before the storm.
Yeah, we had 40 minutes at least notification that something was coming. They
Oh,
were
yeah.
like, It looks lined up
It
to
was.
come to Old Mogi.
Mhm.
It is a tornado here in wherever it was. I
think it was
can't
in-
remember.
It was in Seminole.
Seminole, yeah.
Yeah.
In Seminole, there's a tornado on the ground. That same storm is coming for you. And if we were standing out in the street,
It probably wouldn't be looking too good.
it wouldn't be
No.
very smart
Ooh,
for us to wait till the last minute. And some people were saying, well, it wasn't an actual tornado, but that's just the thing. You don't wait to find out. You
Yeah.
prepare.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's on the ground right in front of us. Well, it's a tornado now. Time to get in the house. And by then you're like, woo!
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's technically called, what the
The touchdown.
definition
Yeah.
of the tornado but it was still cyclonic in the sky,
Oh, it was
and
still
it could have come down at any time.
That's what they were saying
And
too.
it was still circulating as it went over us. It could have touched down at any minute,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
that was why it was so dangerous. And
So are we gonna just stand around and go, well, it's in the sky, so it might or might not touch down? Are we gonna give that
Yeah.
a chance?
Right. That's a lot to risk.
That is a lot to risk.
It's a huge risk, yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about an eternity. That's why it's important for people to understand that, we have an eternity regardless of where we go after we die.
Yeah.
We have an eternal soul that, is either saved or unsaved by the time we die.
What are you
And
gonna
it
do?
really is that simple. I mean,
Yeah. Are you gonna prepare? Or are you gonna?
Don't wait till the last minute. You're gonna get walked out, and nobody's
Right.
gonna know, and the Lord's gonna not know you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, so let's see what we got next. here.
Oh, one thing I was just going to throw in there. The Bible does say that, no man is without, how does he say it? Basically, we're without excuse. If you get to the end of your life and be like, oh, nobody told me, but that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Basically, nobody's without
Ignorance is
excuse.
not-
Ignorance doesn't
Yeah.
save you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to
Okay.
throw that in there.
Be like, I was around a bunch of Christians, but
So if you're on that fence, brother, you better come down.
you best
Come on down now, Desperado. You know what I mean?
That's right. You know what that means?
Oh, I know the
Slowly.
song. Huh?
That means slow
Slow.
in
Desperado?
Spanish. No, that's Despacito. Never mind.
Hey, it sounded good though, brother.
I'm
You're about to teach me something.
Well,
son.
the other word, Despacito.
Despacito.
That means slow. I forgot what the word was, eat, but the guy told me to eat slow in Spanish.
Slow or slowly?
Slowly.
Slowly.
I know esperate means wait, I think. Like,
Wait, karate? Wait, what?
esperate, I think.
Mm.
Something like that.
Brother, this ain't
We
a
learned
Spanish
Spanish.
lesson here, brother. All right.
It's a good thing this is not a Spanish.
Yeah.
We
People will be
lead
so
you
confused.
Astray.
Well, let's vominos on this.
I know that one. Let's keep going.
Oh, good Lord.
Parable of the three servants.
Oh.
Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportions to their abilities. He then left on his trip. The servant who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earn 5 more bags. Woo! 5
Hey, let's
Yeah.
get it.
He's investing in them.
He's
been
been
watching
watching
right there.
TikTok
He's
videos.
on Robin. He's on Robin Hood.
He's on Robin Hood. He's over here. Yeah, we're gonna invest.
I'm going to invest. Elon Musk looks like he's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
He did just buy Twitter,
We're
know.
gonna put some into Tesla. Oh, it dropped.
Son, I got 5 more.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
servant with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more.
Hey.
But the servant who received 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. After a long time, their master returned from his trip and called them in to give an account of how they had used his money. The servant to whom he had entrusted the 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more bags and said, "Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest. I have earned 5 more." The master was full of praise. "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Oh, that's our word, Jacob. Yeah. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. So now I'll give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. The servant who had received 2 bags of silver, came forward and said, Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest. I have earned 2 more.
He
The
doubled it.
master said, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. So now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. Then the hammer dropped. The servant with the 1 bag of silver came and said, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate.
Mm,
That was kind of a low blow right there, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Anyways, I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here's your money back. And the master replied, you wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why would you deposit my money in the bank? Why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it.
My boy was hoping inflation would have a. Well, actually, inflation would have been even worse for him.
Then he ordered,
Mm-mm.
take the money from the servant and give it to the one with 10 bags of silver. To those who use it well, they are given. Even more will be given. And they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. Now throw this useless servant into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Ooh.
So look, we literally
We were just
said
talking
that.
about
We literally
excuses.
just said that.
Okay,
You
I want
don't
to point
use
something out
it, you'll
here.
lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to point something out huge here. Let's back up a little bit. So the master, he gives this money out. He comes back. The guy he gave, or the person he gave the 5 bags to,
Mm-hmm.
starts out with, Master, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. That's all he says. The second guy, you gave me 2 bags of gold. Master, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I have gained 2 more. The third guy starts out with an excuse. Let me find it. Let me find it.
I knew you were harsh.
The man who had received the bag of gold, he says, Master, I knew that you were a hard man. Right out of the gate, he's like, already given this testimony, like,
Yeah.
like a defense.
He's trying to defend
And
his.
this
yeah.
is a huge thing. Just like, we need to examine ourselves, what our personality is. If your first thing out of the gate is an excuse, you've
Probably need to
done
work on
something.
yourself,
You've done
yeah.
something wrong. He said, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. I mean, come on. He's like, man, you could have at least put that in the bank.
Put that in the savings
Could have
account.
got some interest. Times are tough,
I
brother.
had 4 pennies out of my bank account.
Yeah,
Could at least
it
got
would have been
better.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I love how it says, so going back to the other 2 that actually, got some return on the money.
Yeah.
He says, I've entrusted you with a small amount, therefore I'm going to give you even more.
Oh yeah. I like it.
So don't, what's the thing we used to say? Don't sweat the small stuff. Remember?
Yeah.
But don't belittle the small responsibilities.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
People all the time like, oh well, I got a certain amount of money. I don't know why God hadn't made me rich yet. Well, could you stop buying everything you look at?
Right?
True. I mean, it's like, well, I want to do so much for the kingdom. What have you done with what you've been given?
Right.
Now, yeah.
Have you buried your money? Have you just been, well, I'm just going to wait for
Yeah.
a certain day?
Are you a greeter at the front of the church? And are you doing it well? Do you show up early and do you bring ribbons?
Are you out there, sweeping the gym floor? I mean,
Yeah.
Are you using what you've been given?
Are you using what you've been given?
Yeah.
Or because that's the only way to get more
Yeah.
responsibilities. I mean,
And if you just, well, God's given me a great voice, talking about our vocal cords. And, God, He's just gifted me with this amazing voice. So I'm just going to shut up and be quiet during service.
yeah.
Like, we got a worship team needs help up there, brother.
Yeah.
You got a talent, use it.
Don't put the basket over your light.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to use our talents that we've been given,
Yes.
whether it be financially or maybe you got a gift of the vocal cords or something. Maybe you can play bass guitar. I don't know. Or maybe play drums. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just saying, you use some talents now.
That's right.
Yeah.
So don't be throwing it in the hole and saying goodbye. I'll
And
see
you
you
know what
when,
else, like,
when the Lord comes
oh,
back.
I'm gonna go off on a tangent, should I not?
Do it. Go for it.
So here's my thing. I've talked to several people over the years
Mhm.
that said, oh yeah, I used to work in kids' church, and oh yeah, I used to do this, and we just come to church now and sit in the pew. And I'm like, now you need to show the young people how to finish strong.
Yeah,
I literally wrote a whole message on it.
you got so much potential, and you're just gonna let it.
Stop talking about this next generation coming to bring back the revival. Show them how to finish
Absolutely, yeah.
before,
If you
Yeah.
don't teach,
it's that
They're not
whole
gonna
like
know.
stop living like you're arriving safely at death from Mark Batterson.
Mm.
It's stop living your life like the only thing to do is to arrive safely at death. No, what you need to do is start the race and finish the race strong.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and I believe the race would end with death, not with, sitting on the pew.
sitting on a
Mhm.
pew, yeah. So don't just give up and stop.
Yeah,
If you
those talents continue on throughout your life. It doesn't say anything about age. It doesn't say anything about you're too young or you're too old.
right,
I mean, it
100%.
goes both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not like a once you hit 85, you're just you're just blessed.
Once you hit around the age you retire from work, you could just go ahead, sit on your front porch, hit the golf ball in the neighbor's, window, do whatever. It don't say that. It is,
Talk about all those silver bags you doubled. No, honey, you gotta keep doubling.
keep on
Because
doubling.
you
Yeah.
get more responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gotta keep on going. Speaking of keeping on going,
Keep going.
yes, ma'am.
Are we going into 26? No,
No,
no.
we're still in 31, verse 31.
Verse 31. Okay.
But when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit upon his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered in his presence, and he will separate the people as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats.
Mm.
He will place the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left. I'm just saying, okay. Let's read further and then we'll I'll be like, what were we saying? The greatest of all time?
Yeah.
It's gonna be over here, and then the sheep are gonna be over here. Which one are you? Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you invited me into your home. I was naked, you gave me clothing. I was sick and you cared for me. I was in prison and you visited me. Then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you
Ooh,
hungry
here we go.
and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger or show hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will say, I tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me.
Ooh.
Then the king will turn to those on the left and say, away with you, you cursed ones, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his demons. For I was hungry and you didn't feed me. I was thirsty and you didn't give me drink. I was a stranger and you didn't invite me in your home. I was naked and you didn't give me clothing. I was sick and in prison and you didn't visit me. And they will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and not help you? And his answer, I tell you the truth, when you refuse to help the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you're refusing to help me. And they will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous will go into eternal life.
Some deep stuff. Not too deep, but
I don't
Pretty
do
straight
sheep,
up.
I don't want to go.
Yeah, it ain't about being the goat. All right.
You know,
Stop saying it.
yeah. Be like, man, you the GOAT. Wait,
Go,
hold on.
bro. It's so
Bro,
stupid.
I know I'm good at basketball. Please don't call me that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Nobody calls me the GOAT. I don't know what to say. Get off
I mean, that's
court,
pretty
please.
straight up. So,
Yeah. So.
all right, let's get right into 26. I'll kick us off at 26.
The
When-
plot thickens.
The plot thickens. The
That's
plot
what it
against
says.
Jesus.
Mine says
When Jesus had finished saying all these things, he said to his disciples, "As you know, the Passover is 2 days away, and the Son of Man will be handed over to be crucified." Then the chief priest and the elders of the people assembled in the palace of the high priest, whose name was Caiaphas. And they schemed to arrest Jesus secretly and kill him. But not during the festival, they said, or there may be a riot among the people. They were so worried about their
Oh, yeah.
religion.
We don't want to scare mom and sis over there.
While Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of Simon the leper, not leopard, the leper,
The leopard.
a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. "Why this waste?" they asked. "This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor." Aware of this, Jesus said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me."
Yep.
"When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever this gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her."
So he wrote it down. Hello.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's good. See, that's one of those small things. It probably seems so small.
Oh yeah. To them at the time that Jesus saw it as like a
This
huge
is-
teaching moment. Even
Yeah.
there's plenty of things to be done, but if you don't give your time to Jesus, you're going to miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah.
Whereas, there's still going to be things to do. There's still going to be people to see,
Yeah.
people to feed, but if you don't give your time to Jesus, whether it be worship, praising him, just spending time with him, in her case, she was, spending time and money to,
Right.
or oils, I guess you would say, to clean him, to clean his hair. Well, in our time, that's, I guess you could say, worshiping and spending time with Jesus in prayer. You still have, there's plenty of time. There's still, my mom always said, there's always, or not my mom, but somebody always told me, they always said, there's always going to be another job. There's always going to be another person to take your position. There's still, the work's going to be there. It's what you're going to do there. What are you going to do? Are you going to make an impact for Jesus, or are you just going to worry about the things of today?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there's like entire messages just around this little part because of the sacrifice she made. I mean, there's word studies you can get into. I mean, obviously we know the perfume is expensive,
Mhm.
and here comes this lady who pours it all out.
Oh yeah.
It's seen as just a sacrifice on her part. The disciples can only see it as a waste of money. Like, "Oh, what have you done?" But Jesus is like, "No, you don't really see what's happening here." So, okay, as we continue on, verse 14.
Oh, goodness.
Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over.
So 30 pieces of silver would have been like 120 days wage. That's what I'm reading in my study part.
Oh,
Yeah. So
nice.
so that's like, what is 120 days wage? That's what?
120 days.
Depends on how much money you make.
Depending on how much money you make, that's a lot of money,
But
but not a lot at the same time. You know what I mean?
that's not a lot. And
The spot valuation of it, 28. I don't know.
So on mine it says, if the pieces of silver are shekels, 30 would be only 120 days wage. Thus, by his treacherous act, Judas earned only 1/3 of the value of Mary's lavish gift. On the significance of this amount, see note 27-9. Well, so I'm thinking, isn't Mary's lavish gift, wasn't that the perfume?
Yeah, so that's Mary here.
Okay.
She's not named in this book, but I think she's named later on.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's why it's significant, the different gospels. So we've got Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John being the synoptic gospels. And they're all basically different accounts of the same events happening. So
All right.
whereas Matthew doesn't name Mary here, she's named, I think, later on
Maybe in Luke or
in
John
Luke or John or Mark.
or more.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's significance in each one.
Oh yeah. So that kind of tells you how crazy it is, how little Judas betrayed Jesus for was
Yeah.
the value 1/3 of Mary's gift of the oil.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, Judas was very short-sighted,
Yeah.
and I don't mean like literally, but you know,
Yeah. He didn't need
wasn't-
glasses. I think it was more of like a
he was spiritually nearsighted.
spiritually.
He didn't have 20/20 spiritual vision. Brother.
No,
I can tell you that right now.
He wasn't.
I mean, yeah. So let's continue.
Yeah.
So, verse 17, on the first day of the festival of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to make preparations for you to eat the Passover?" He replied, "Go into the city to a certain man and tell him, the teacher says, my appointed time is near. I am going to celebrate the Passover with my disciples at your house." So the disciples did as Jesus had directed them and prepared the Passover. When evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12. And while they were eating, he said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." And they're like, "Boo!" Like, I'm sure that threw them off. They're like, "What?
Yeah.
What?
One of the 12.
And the funniest part,
Have you ever been in like classroom or like parents or something? I'll sit you down, whatever it is, and they're like, somebody has done messed up. And you're
Oh,
like,
yours
what
automatically
have I
like,
done? What have I done? What did I do?
Was it
Was it
me?
me? Was it me?
Yeah.
And so I'm just sitting there going like, well, one of them, they're all sitting there going, no, I mean, being did as he, and then time goes on, they're probably like, well,
I did do that.
I did doubt for like 3 seconds at one point, or like, is he talking about me?
At one time,
Yeah.
I did sneak on the water a little bit.
all right, let's continue on now. We're getting short. So yeah, he says, "One of you will betray me." They were very sad and began to say to him one after the other, "Surely you don't mean me, Lord." Jesus replied, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. The Son of Man will go just as it is written about him. But woe to that man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born." And Judas, the one who would betray him, said, "Surely you don't mean me, Rabbi."
Oh, not me, bro.
Jesus answered, "You have said so."
How'd you find out?
While they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, "Take it and eat it. This is my body." Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." When they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives.
Wow.
So there's our communion. I mean, it's symbolic of
The
what
moment
Jesus
before
was
Jesus
about
passed.
to do. Yeah, and what Jesus, now for us did in the past, of course. When we break the bread, we're symbolizing Jesus's body being broken, tortured, beaten, hung on the cross. And then, of course, his blood being symbolized by the wine or grape juice, whatever your church does,
We do grape juice.
One time we went camping actually with Jonathan, our pastor,
Mhm.
and our youth pastor at the time was there. It was me and my brother. I think my wife's
interesting story.
my wife's brother was there, and we had an MRE,
Oh,
and it was like there was a Kool-Aid and like a little pack of bread with it, and we were like, "Hey, let's take communion," like just out in the backyard in the snow, by the way.
oh,
It was awesome.
watch
I mean-
a lot of snow, huh?
Over a foot. It was like
I mean, like in the
18
snow.
inches of snow. It
Yeah.
wasn't, it was
Wow.
a big snow.
It was great.
Man,
It's a good,
They decided
good
to go
memory.
camping.
yeah.
Good memory.
I didn't.
Weird way to clear your head.
So I guess the point to that being, I mean, you could take, I don't know that you can take communion with anything, but it's not about the pieces.
I think it's the
symbolism.
symbolic
Yeah.
meaning behind what you're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we use, like I said, it was like MRE, bread and Kool-Aid or something. But
Like I used crackers and sweet tea one time.
yeah. Okay. Oh, we still got quite
But
a bit to
hey,
go.
it was putting your heart into that mood of, this is what we're doing.
Just,
Yeah.
remembering.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then Jesus told them, "This very night you will all fall away on account of me, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter replied, "Even if all fall away on account of you, I never will." "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "better check
Listen
yourself
up
before you wreck yourself."
Listen here, bro. I know it's ride and die, but I don't think you know exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah, he's like, "Peter, hold up."
My
He says,
moment.
"Truly I tell you," he's talking to Peter, "this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the other disciples said the same. So it wasn't just Peter.
No.
I mean, I think we skip over that quite a bit.
All the
like,
disciples.
we'd ride or die with you, Jesus. But Peter, I think, he was so vocal. That's why I love Peter. But moving on to Gethsemane.
Oh, yeah.
Verse 36, then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there to pray." He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father," I'm going to take this part slow. "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." How much time do you think was in between Jesus saying, if it's possible? So let's break this down. Jesus knows what's about to happen. He's in the Garden of Gethsemane, which Gethsemane means pressed wine or pressed grapes, right? It's just kind of another symbolic way of saying that Jesus is being, he's so stressed out at this point because he knows
He's pressed.
he's a physical man at this point.
Yeah, he's still got worries.
Yeah. So, but he knows what's about to happen.
He's
He's about to be
pain.
crucified. Yeah. Anybody's saying, "May this cup be taken from me." Basically, if there's another way
Oil
to,
press.
yeah, if there's another way for this to happen, for the salvation of man to happen, may it be so. But not my will, but thy will was another way you probably.
Oh, yeah.
More.
Not my
most
will
of the
be,
time.
but yours be done.
Yeah, not my will be done, but yours. So he's saying he still understands that his Father's will
Mm-hmm.
is more important than his own as a man.
I think us as Christians need to realize that as well. Like in prayer, we're like, "Lord, I want this Lamborghini. Lord, I want this. I want that."
Yeah.
But-
Well, sometimes the answer of God doesn't look how we think.
Yeah, I want a Tesla.
Lord, if I could just get that Tesla, I'd be all over the city preaching your
Dude,
words. Huh?
Yeah, I'd be financially stable. But
Yeah. He's saying, well, don't them legs work?
don't them legs work?
Shouldn't you go across the street and
Didn't I give you the ability to walk to that
Didn't I
there?
already give you back
workplace.
silver?
That's right. Didn't I already gift you with something?
trust you with the small things? What are you doing with it?
That's right.
Don't bury it. Okay. Verse 40. Jesus returns to his disciples and he finds them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watching with me for more than 1 hour?" He asked Peter. "Watch and pray that so you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." He went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." So he's like saying it again. He's like re-solidifying, like, I'm going to do this if you want me to do it.
Yeah.
When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same thing. See, there's those threes again.
In
Remember?
threes, man.
In threes.
He's always
Then
working.
he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer.
Uh-oh.
Jesus arrested. While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priest and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. The one I kiss is the man. Arrest him. Going at once to Jesus, Judas said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. That's why you hear the expression the Judas kiss,
Yeah.
because it's that kiss of
That
betrayal.
betrayal. Yeah.
So Judas is still trying to play both sides, I think.
He's still, yeah.
He's trying to get that money from the
Priest. Or no,
the ones that are there to
Yeah.
betray him or arrest him. You know, the chief priests and all that.
but at the same time, he wants to
At
be.
the same time, he's trying to save face with Jesus, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
He's on the
dude, just
fence.
own up to one or the other, but
Yeah.
still. That's why I still think, there's still some conviction going on there with Judas. Not that I'm trying to defend him like a lot, but because he still did what he did. Jesus, so he says, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. That is the signal given to the ones that are nearby so they know which one Jesus
know.
is.
They're like, oh, which one's Judas gonna kiss?
Yeah.
Why did he kiss that frog?
Jesus says this to him.
I'm just kidding.
There ain't no frog kissing
No frog
in this
kissing.
story.
No Princess Bride.
Jesus replied, "Do what you came for, friend." Do what you gonna do, all right?
I know what's up. You ain't gonna sneak that money past me.
Jesus is just like, do what you're gonna do, man. He already knows.
He
He already knows.
It's like, just
Then
go.
the men stepped forward, seized Jesus, and arrested him. With that, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword, drew it out, and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear. "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him, "for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels?"
That's crazy.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of angels. "But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen in this way?" Jesus is like, bro,
Listen,
like
it's gotta happen this way, bro.
this is supposed to happen. In that hour, Jesus said to the crowd, "Am I leading a rebellion that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me?" So now he's like talking to his guards. He's like, "Bro, what's with all the weapons? What's with the AKs? The Uzis?
Put the 9 down, cuz.
So every day I sat in the temple courts teaching, and you did not arrest me." So he's like grilling them before they get him.
Of course.
"But this has all taken place that the writings of the prophets might be fulfilled." Then all the disciples deserted him and fled. He's like, "Look, you ain't surprising me, son. All right."
Listen, I done ate before we was about to leave.
Okay, verse 57. Go ahead and pick it up in 57.
All right. So,
And yeah, go ahead.
all right, 57. And those who had laid hold of Jesus led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance to the high priest's courtyard, and he went in and sat with the servants to the end, to see the end. Verse 59. Now the chief priests, the elders, and all the council sought false testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Even though many false witnesses came forward, and they found none, but at last 2 false witnesses came forward and said, "This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days." And the high priest arose and said to him, "Do you answer nothing? What does these men testify against you?" But Jesus kept silent. And the high priest answered and said to him, "I put you under oath by the living God." It's funny. "I put you under oath by the living God."
Yeah,
Jesus.
you're allowed to speak, Yeah.
I put you under oath by you. All right.
Mhm. Tell us.
Oh, there it is. 64. My bad. But Jesus kept silent, and the high priest answered and said to him, "I put you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are Christ, the Son of God." Verse 64. Jesus said to him, "It is if you said, 'Nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven.'" Then the high priest tore his clothes, saying, "He has spoken blasphemy. What further need do we have of witnesses?
How dare you betray our religion? Ugh,
Look,
just so high and mighty. Right there.
yeah. Oh, don't get me started on Pharisee now. Look, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? They answered and said, he is deserving of death. Verse 67. Then they spat in his face and beat him, and others struck him with palms of their hands, and saying, prophesy to us, Christ, who is the one who struck you?
I just can't help but think the blasphemy that they're accusing him of at the exact same time.
They're committing
They're the ones committing blasphemy. Yeah, who hit you, Jesus? Huh? Maybe. You know, they're making fun of him.
Yeah.
I'm not touching you. Yeah. You know. And how quickly did it take them? So it says right here, they bring false evidence against Jesus so they can put him to death. They just want to get rid of this guy.
Yeah.
And finally, they're like, oh, we got him now because he says, tell us if you're the Son of God. And he says, you have said so. He's like, oh, he just claimed to be God. See you. Now we can kill him.
It's like, say it.
I told you.
Say it. He's like,
Yeah,
okay.
say
It's
it.
like you said.
Say it.
Ooh, he
Yeah.
said it.
Yeah.
Oh, see, teacher, look.
Look, I told him.
Now the high priest is like, oh, I see what you mean. Shh, I tear my clothes.
Yeah. Put him to
They're
death.
just so like flashy. I
Yeah.
think they just wanted to show
Their dominance, I guess you could say.
their dominance. Yeah. Like I said before, that word we looked up, the things they were wearing in the temples when they're praying and stuff, they just
Yeah.
have to be so, you know,
Flashy,
outward.
like, I'm better than you.
Praying out loud with their hand. Oh, Lord, good morning. You know,
Yeah.
it's me again.
It's
And he's
me
like,
again.
I know.
Did you
Quiet
folks see that? I'm talking to him again. Look. Yeah, they're so flashy and trying to throw this idea that I'm better than you, and I talk to
Yeah.
I'm
That's
more-
like that one
I'm
thing
more
is all they
religious
need.
than you.
That one thing is that all they needed to hear is like, oh, he's spoken blasphemy. Why do we even need any more witnesses? Look, now we've heard the blasphemy for ourselves. You know, what do you think? You know,
Yeah,
he's worthy of death. Like, it's crazy.
they're real aggressive with
It's
it.
like, yeah, it's like, oh, finally. They're like, finally, we have him right where we want it.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Jesus was really, he was really on them. You know, earlier in this year's scripture, talking about whenever they'd be like trying to come up on Jesus with some old prophecy, and Jesus would be, quoting the whole book. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because
What about your honoring your mother and father? What happened to that one, huh? They're like, oh, they walk away. Yeah.
He always was getting them. They're like, oh, that's why.
But I thought we had them.
Yeah, oh, we didn't get him this time. Because Jesus, at any point in time, I mean, he's in control the whole time. God is.
Yeah.
He knows what's going down. You know, it all happened at the right time. But let's continue on. We are a little over time.
Yeah. Where we at?
Not that I want to skip over part of this, but
69.
would
Would you
finish
like
it.
to finish this one up?
Meanwhile, Peter was sitting outside the courtyard.
Mm.
A servant girl came over to him and said to him, "You are one of those with Jesus, the Galilean."
I saw him.
But Peter denied it in front of everyone. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Later, out by the gate, another girl noticed him and said to those standing around, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." Again, Peter denied it, this time with an oath. "I don't even know the man," he said.
Mm.
A little later, some of the other bystanders came over to Peter and said, "You must be one of them. We can tell by your Galilean accent."
Ooh.
Peter swore,
Uh-oh.
"I curse on me if I am lying. If I don't know the man."
Mm.
Calm
And
down.
immediately the
Calm
rooster
down.
crowed. Suddenly, Jesus' words flashed through Peter's mind.
I bet he was going,
Before the rooster crows, I was trying to say the crowster roos. This one-
That crowster do be ruined, though.
That crowster be ruined everything.
Alright.
That crowster rude right here.
Before the rooster crows, you will deny 3 times that you even know me. And he went away weeping bitterly. Man, how many times do you say to someone, "Honor your father and mother, don't lie, don't do this, don't do that," and then 2 seconds later you kind of do it and you're like,
Bro, did I just say that?
"I just called myself out, I didn't even know it."
Where them toes at? They feel stomped on.
Poor Peter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Peter definitely was.
We're
I take
grateful.
up for my boy Peter.
I know, we're grateful for Peter and the lessons that he learned so that
We can also.
Well,
we
and
understand
when
he
we
was
get
still
into-
God's people.
yeah, I love the parallel between Judas and Peter. because Judas and Peter both betrayed Jesus. And not to get into the next chapter too much, but if y'all read ahead, Judas takes that shame and he carries out the wrong way. We'll get into it next week. But Peter he still feels that weight, because it does say he went outside and wept bitterly, so he runs off and he's like, oh, I've really done it now. But we'll see later, All right, well, that's gonna do it. So literally, next time we have 2 chapters to go over, and then we're done with Matthew.
Yeah. Thank you guys so
7 to
much.
28.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in. I hope this was a fun one. I certainly fun. Did you have fun?
Thank you so much for visiting the brief.